Morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Today was a big special teams emphasis day. Also got into some game ending situations. A little bit of 2-minute last plays. Just being able to start building that the assortment of plays for situations and just kind of building on that, tying it to the guys that we have and making sure that when we find ourselves in the moment of truth there at the end of a game, that guys are poised, confident, understand what we're trying to do, continuing to work the rules with clock, our efficiency, and I thought it was a really good morning for us in that regards. It was a little bit shorter of a practice, and we've been going hard at it. Guys, I like where they are. We've been physical. Tomorrow will be another day to kind of ramp back up. In that before we have a compete day. Come Saturday, which that will be kind of a half and half day where we will have some tackle periods, but there will also be some work prior and just really trying to tie into situational awareness in that. So we got an important couple days here in front of us that we got to continue to grow and improve. I like what I saw yesterday. We tried to. I think I might have mentioned, after a scrimmage, but one of the things coming out of the scrimmage is just, especially some of the young players, is, situational awareness, understanding down and distance, what are the things, how are you about to be attacked? Can you have an anticipation of what you might see and then react to what shows up? And that's where, you want to be a smart football team. I mean, that's got to be a critical component of it. And there were some times where I don't think we were as good as we needed to be in the scrimmage. So we tried to create more of those opportunities, there in yesterday's practice. I know I didn't talk to y'all, but I thought that really went well. Saw some growth from our guys, and it was a very competitive day. With physicality of what needs to be showing up. So we're continuing to track, and like I said, tomorrow's got to be a great day for us, and obviously come Saturday. I mean, it's, we're 2 weeks away, and so the time is before us.
Chris, what players are getting a look at in the return game, both kick and punt? Yeah, I talked a little bit about Deuce doing a little punt, get a feel for that for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen, Squirrel, BJ, I think Deuce there in the punt return game. Sometimes some of those might be situational, elements of it. I think those guys have all done a really good job. You could see the work that's gone in, throughout the offseason. Jalen Lucas is a guy that, is, I think, really dynamic, and you just see the confidence of him and his decision making. Seeing that, grow throughout the course of the offseason and what he's been able to do during camp is really exciting. Obviously, Squirrel has some, game experience and has been very productive with opportunities that he's had. And then you get guys that we think, could definitely, be a benefit, there in the punt return game, which we're excited to see. In the kick return game, Sam Singleton, was obviously very dynamic last year, being a freshman All-American. We got Jalen Lucas, who, once again, his first 2 years in college was, All-American, kick returner as well. So, he's very dynamic there. We got, really all of our backs, have kind of put themselves in a position, whether primary or potential, if we, with our two returner looks. I like the dynamic of what that can be. Mekhi Danzy's a guy that's getting some work back there as well. So I think it's a good group that we have, and you're excited about where that can continue to go here these next couple weeks.
Tony was pretty vocal the other day about the physicality and the effort he wants to see on every play. I'm sure he's expressed that to the players. Have you seen any response to that?
Yeah, I think, I think we've done a good job with that, throughout. But there's certain guys that you've got to rise to the occasion, and there's been a lot of guys where you felt the physicality, effort. I do think that defensively, we're bringing an edge to practice, but if you're not doing it, you're standing out in a very bad way, and I think that's where everybody has a desire to play. And we've told every player on this team, I don't care what you've done up to this point. If you're not putting it on film, if you're not doing it in practice, if you're not showing and building that trust of what can be expected, playing and play out, then you're not going to see yourself out there on the field come August 30th. And that is program wide, and obviously all the lights come on and the scrimmages, being able to get those live situations to see how guys respond. And there's some guys that played better in that situation, or some guys that didn't, and that's what we have to go off of. And when it comes to game one, man, I'm not looking to hope that it works out. I want to see the guys that have performed at a high level in those live situations that we get, and that have shown up consistently throughout practice.
Can you talk about Conrad and him departing the football program? What went into that?
Well, he's been dismissed from the team, and I'm obviously grateful for time that we've been able to be together. But at the end of the day, it's a decision that was made.
Brendan? When we talked to Coach White, he's mentioned Ashton Barker, KJ Kirkland's guys who are kind of emerging, stepping up. And then I got asked about diversity of checking ground we haven't heard a whole lot about. What have you seen from that group, those three kind of battling it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very competitive, and KJ got a lot of experience last year. Ash, got some, but really feeling his growth throughout this offseason. You've seen his confidence, emerge. Shai has a lot of experience here, and there's big expectations for what that needs to look like and what it needs to be. So those guys are competing on a daily basis, and I'm excited to see where it can go here over these next couple of weeks.
With Jake and Mac, how have they done so far? We didn't ask you how they did in the scrimmage, especially Jake. Like, how was he
Yeah,
done?
so I thought Jake, I thought the scrimmage was really good for him, and we've tried to put an emphasis where he got all the kicks throughout it. Didn't his I think it was his first kick was not it was a little challenging situation, but missed the first one, and then I thought he had a great response. I think he got 6 kicks or throughout the course, maybe 7, but really a great response. That he came back Tuesday, I guess it would have been whatever that next practice was. I don't know my days right now, but he came out and man, he was right on point. So you see his confidence emerging. We talk a lot about that at that position, and I think Jake has a great deal of confidence in what he's able to do. His kickoffs, him and Bruno, I mean, they were outstanding on their kickoffs, location. Obviously what position that they're putting the ball in. So you're definitely excited about them in that regards. And then Mac has been he's had a great camp, and I think he's got elite potential for what it can be, and what I like is the consistency. It's a little bit. You talk about quarterbacks. Sometimes you got to know where the good misses are. You're not always. It's not always going to be just ideally what you full maximum potential. But sometimes if you got a good miss, that's a we can work through all that. And I think Mac has really done a good job of being able to control that. You feel his confidence as well. So, and then Bruno is also working there. Then that's when Bruno came in. That's we had the opportunity to get him and sign him. I mean, that was a big addition for us, because I mean those guys can't let up one step. And yes, he's a true freshman coming in, but he's talented, and he's somebody that through the course of the season, if something was to happen, through the competition, it's going to be best guys. But I really like where that group is trending and what they're doing.
I know you mentioned having the reasoning for having the 2 scrimmages a little earlier than the normal scheduled camp. Now that you've had them, you've seen kind of a few practices. How do you like the way that's unfolded with you?
Yeah, it's actually one something we talked about as a staff, and with the summer, how much you're able to do on air. It's kind of like you can do plenty on air, but it's time to go see how it's going to translate when you're in live action. It's good to see some guys get tackled. Some to see guys force missed tackles. I mean, blocking on the perimeter. Guys, when the ball's in the air under the lights, they're going up and making the play. I think some guys definitely emerged, and now as you go leading up to the rest of this week, we'll have a competitive day on Saturday, but there's some guys that won't get tackled, and they've done a great job and put themselves in position. Now it's time about refining the skills. The competition's always going to be there, but I'm saying it's all signs come Saturday. We're going to be focused on continuing to improve and do the things we need to do to go be our best come August 30th.
The linebacker room got praised for telling after the scrimmage. He said kind of everyone in there has been doing really well. Just how have you evaluated that group?
No, that's been a group that I've been really, really pleased with. And, I think, what Tony has done with them, obviously I think JP is doing a great job, him and Ernie. We got outstanding coaches at that position. And, those guys are knowledgeable. We got really, really impressive players. But seeing the coaching tie into the skills of what these guys can do, and then they're working. I mean, it is a very, very close-knit group. You very rarely do you see any of those guys just by themselves. I mean, they're going to be together. They're going to, whether they're coming in and doing extra, or they're coming in and getting treatment, whatever's you're being asked. I mean, they're trying to lead the charge. And so got some great leadership emerging there. And, just excited about what that group can be, but also what it needs to be.
With the two scrimmages so close together, and then what that, I think, called the half and half on Saturday, is that a normal progression for your preseason as far as it seems like you're trying to ramp up the physicality a little bit, and what is the purpose, I guess, of the Saturday, the half and half, still trying to bring that?
Yeah, I mean, there's still guys that, some guys that need to show it. And they need to go show that, if they're in space, they're going to be able to go get somebody on the ground. If they're, if they get the ball in space, they're going to be able to force somebody to miss. If it's, everything on the line, who's going to go up and make the play, the block, the tackle, the catch, whatever that situation is. So, but yeah, it's been physical. We wanted it to be physical, and it's got to continue to be. But we're also making sure that, as you're 2 weeks away, that being smart with guys that have been consistent in putting that, on film leading up to it, and we'll get the work we need.
Maybe two more, Ira.
Sounds like Kevin Wynn has made a leap even from the spring to the camp from the way people are talking about him. Can you talk about how it will aid? And then also, can a guy like that, the Twins, the way they've come in as freshmen, can that push the older guys to?
Yeah, I think you see when you play on offensive line, defensive line, I mean, that transition from high school to college, I mean, it's big. And, just the speed, the physicality, for what you see in the spring, you're just trying to figure it out. I mean, it moves so fast for them. But really been pleased with the growth and progression of that group, and what I believe that they're going to be able to do and accomplish. It's still in front of them. And, these next 2 weeks are going to be big to see what it's going to look like here, early in the season for them. But, there's been some great plays that have been made. They don't look like freshmen, as they go out there. I mean, they're pushing and performing, and, but it's still a lot. And, it's, like I said, it's a couple of O-line, D-line. I mean, it's, you gotta be a little bit of a different breed, as to get out there and be able to handle the physicality and the speed of what shows up. But I like how those guys are training.
Last one, Brendan. Sure. Two questions?
I mean, you only have to pay Ira, though, because, he has that trademark, too. Yeah, it's all right.
Multi-layered.
Yeah.
Jacob Rizzi, since he's come back, how have you seen him perform? How has he done? And then Daniel Lyons is someone that this time in the spring, I guess, how has he done?
Yeah, so Rizzi's been really good, and he's come in, just immediately jumped into the competition. Rizzi has such flexibility of where he can play, and he's so smart. And he's going to absolutely be an impact for this football team this year. He's coming off the injury, and when he went live, I mean, we got some pod work and things done before that, but when he went live, I mean, it's you didn't feel like he had missed a beat. And there's still some rust things that you work off and just a little bit fine tune some of the technique and fundamentals. But great competitor, a great teammate, very smart. I'm very pleased with what I've seen here in this last week. Daniel Lyons is he is one that we're very excited about. He is just transparency, kind of working his way back into football shape through it. I mean, there's some things that he was limited at, throughout the summer. So we knew this would be a little bit of a process, but I think these last few days you're starting to really see that flash coming back. He's been able to, he's building back his confidence, because I thought, in the first, whatever that is, first week and a half before, the injury, he was progressing as one of our top guys, not just on a line of scrimmage, but I mean, he was really, really excited about where that's going. I'm starting to see that again. So, he's got to have a big couple weeks, but, excited about where he's trending.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.